Yo, YouTube, tube. Um, what was I doing again? What fucking El Bandito? Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing the El Bandito CTF. I did it earlier, and it took me a good I mean, I would say probably like 3 hours or something like that. So it was a pretty rough one. Um, for many reasons other than one, and I learned a fuck ton about HTTP smuggling. Like going through the learning rooms, learning about HTTP smuggling is good, but then once you like come into doing like an actual challenge, like proof of concept mission, it just reinforces it so well, dude. Like I feel like I learned so much doing this room, but I figured I was gonna make a video on it because it goes over some really cool exploitation techniques, like using WebSocket HTTP smuggling, which is super gangster. Um, and it also goes over h2.cl smuggling, I'm pretty sure. So which means HTTP version 2 content length smuggling. So you're gonna be using an HTTP2, which if you don't know that, we're using HTTPS, which will be using the content length header to smuggle in an HTTP version 1 request to the backend. So pretty cool beans. Pretty cool beans. And yeah, so it's a really fun CTF. It's all web based too, so pure web application based penetration testing. So no privilege escalation, none of that shit. No getting remote code execution. But it still is a super cool CTF. It was also my first hard CTF I've ever done. So super fun though, super fun. Yeah, I'll let this thing boot up in a second, and it should only take like another minute or two, whatever. Let me turn on Shoes of Verge real quick. It's a pretty good playlist. Got a couple good songs I was adding in here. Yeah, so check me out on Duolingo. I'm the goat on Duolingo, so you can check my profile out. Maybe follow me or something. 7-day streak, 1,200 XP. I'm quite the big deal, to be honest, but yeah. Also, yeah, hit me up on GitHub too while I'm doing this. Hit me up on the hub. I have a lot of really good repositories. Like I'm working on a Rust directory brute forcer. It's not yeah, I'm not really that like I'm new to coding Rust, so I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not really good at coding either, so but I'm practicing. You know how it goes. All right, let me get some water real quick. Tiffany, hey girl. All right. What else is there to talk about when it comes to this? Let me try to think about like, how exactly I went through it before. I know you find out that there's a WebSocket in the back end when you go to services, I'm pretty sure, on the website, and you go to burn, and you see that it tries to connect to a WebSocket domain on the web server. So you find out there's a WebSocket, so you're like, okay, let me try to do WebSocket smuggling. Which I think is pretty easy. All you do is just add an upgrade to your connection. You add like WebSocket version 13, I'm pretty sure it was. Or you can do anything. You can do like 7,000, 5 million, whatever the fuck you want to do. And yeah, you just add that shit to it. Change the content link to 0. Make sure it doesn't change on Burp Suite. Let me open up Burp Suite real quick while I'm waiting. And then yeah, so it's overall pretty easy as long as you know what you're doing. And make sure you have the I'll show you right now what I'm talking about. when you're in the repeater, make sure you have this turned on so you can see new lines, okay? Because without that, it can get kind of brain dead because you can't just see what the fuck's going on. So yeah. Anyways, let's this should be good here. Close out Duolingo. So I'm not gonna bother doing brute forcing or directory brute forcing because I already kind of know what I want to do. So I'm pretty sure if I check network. Also, yeah, make sure when you're pen testing a website or an application, always have your network tab open so you can see if it's making any calls to any APIs or WebSockets like it is here. Right. So this is just like if you want to do a WebSocket HTTP request smuggling, there you have to have some sort of server-side request forward your vulnerability on the server. And this works perfectly because all it does is just check to see if it just checks to see if it can get a request from a server. So here it's online, $URL is equal to this. Obviously, and the WebSocket.thm is offline, right? But if we, oh, we're on here right now. If we just refresh this, forward that, and we capture this URL here, send this to the repeater, we can open up a, let me see, project, oh, I don't want to open up any terminal, am I done? Alright, so I'm going to go into my WebSocket folder, then I have a WebSocket.py here. You can copy this code if you want to. This is from TryHackMe when I was going to the WebSocket room. But yeah, all it does is just host a WebSocket server, or not a WebSocket server, but a HTTP server on your fucking thing, and it takes a port as its arguments. I'm pretty sure, or the parameters that you pass to the arguments. But yeah, it takes a port, so you just send it a port. And then when you send a request to the server, it'll automatically respond with a 101 response code, which means socket upgrading. So it means upgrade the socket, right? So that's what we want to do. If we just make this connection keep alive, let's make it also upgrade. And let's make and let's assign upgrade to a WebSocket. So this should be all we need to add. If we need to add more, I'll go look at the documentation on it, but I can't really remember what the rest of that shit is right now, to be honest. So let me pull up my IP address. Alright, so we should just be able to go here at port quad 5, send a request. This might act a little bit, this might be fucked up here, I don't know. I'm gonna have to redo this thing right here, but okay, no, it works. So yeah, so you see how we got a connection upgrade? So we got an upgrade response, right? So all we'd have to do now, let me turn on this. So this is an HTTP1 request. We don't actually need to edit the binary on the side. I don't think we actually ever will need to edit the binary unless it's something a little bit more complicated. But yeah, here we can just add get. And so we want to target, I'm pretty sure it was the base server, which is on port 80 at HTTPS. Yeah, accept and continue, nothing to see here, so you just have some JavaScript in the background. But if we want to target this, they have some shit that we want to access. Yeah, but we can't actually access that. We want to access their environmental variables. So /env doesn't have anything, but /trace, I'm pretty sure, which is a debug trace, the environmental variables for their web server. It just stores debug information and shit like that. But pretty sure this has debug information for admin credentials and shit from last time I did it. Yeah, let me think about this. So yeah, it just goes http/1.1. Then we want to assign a host, which is just going to be the website we want to target. Yeah, that's how I want to do it right there, because we want to finish off the request. Oh, I forgot to say cooking content length is set to 0, but I don't know if it should matter. It does matter, motherfucker. Yeah, we don't want to update content length. So this should, if I did everything right, yes, okay. So that's how you set up your GET requests if you're going to be using an upgrade. So upgrade WebSocket, you want to keep it alive and upgrade. And then you just want to put your request after two new line and new line, and I think this is carriage return. So after two new line and carriage return fucking characters, then you put your new requests in, and then each new request has to have a carriage return new line times two. Yes, we come in here and we get our /admin creds. So we can request this from the server. Also get the admin flag. I think this is the first flag. We can look at that first. So we can just put this in our thing. So instead of going for the debug information from /trace, we can just get an admin flag here. Yeah, and there's your first flag right there. So pretty simple stuff. We can go admin creds. Excuse me. Actually, I can explain why this works also if you don't know much about HTTP smuggling and WebSocket smuggling. So the reason this works is because the reverse proxy, the Nginx reverse proxy that they're using, thanks that, by the way, reverse proxy is like the client side, I guess, the client side filtering. So the reverse proxy using Nginx, right? It thinks that because we're using an upgrade of WebSocket and we're using connection upgrade, it thinks that we're trying to connect with a WebSocket, right? So it sends us to talk to the WebSocket, but their WebSocket isn't actually online, and so it allows this to bypass the filters, right? Which then allows us to have the server request /admin-creds and then return us the response, right? If that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that too well, but that's like basically a high level way of how it works. And yeah, so it allows us to do HTTP request smuggling, so we can smuggle in this GET request and then receive the response past the reverse proxy. But to be able to do this, you do need to have a server-side request forgery vulnerability on the server somewhere, and that's the only requirement. So, anyways, now that we know we have the information here, we can pop this open in our let's turn our proxy off. So let's go to port 80 at HTTPS. And then we can go to /access. Hackling. Okay. Can catch me in your dreams. So yeah, this is just a messaging platform. So you could have looked at the JavaScript, which we can just pull it up right here. You can scroll through all this shit. Basically, it just receives messages and prints them out to the screen, and there's a bot that will do that. The cross-site scripting, you can't use cross-site scripting at all. It'll just block it out. And yeah, basically the goal here is actually, yeah, right here. So we want to use HTTP2 because this is HTTPS. We want to use HTTP2 content length desync, I'm pretty sure. So we want to desync the backend server to where it has a request already sitting in its cache. So when another request gets sent, it'll immediately append that new request to the request that was sent, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. So we could just, this doesn't matter anymore. So we're just going to type something in here, and we get a post request, send message. I'm going to send this to our repeater, right? And so it's going to give it, so in HTTP2, you don't actually have a content length, but it gives it a content length because the backend also accepts HTTP 1.1. So it gets a Yeah, so it takes the request and swallows it. Pretty sure it accepts 1.1. But anyways, so yeah, the way you do this is, let me think about it. So we set our content length. We're gonna want to set this to 0. So it thinks when it gets to the backend's gonna think that the content length is 0. So it's not gonna register anything within the data, and it's gonna leave the data there. So we can how do I do it? Oh yeah, turn off update content. And we want it to leave the data there with. We're just gonna not actually have data. We're just gonna put fan because I don't know why not. And so what this should do is it should have this linger in the back end, and it'll fuck up our next request. So we send that message received, method not allowed. So what happened here is we changed the content length to 0, right? So it thinks it's not going to register anything that we're sending to the request. It's not going to process it in the backend. And so this is going to stay in the backend request, like right here, or right here, right? And so it'll be like when we send our next request, it'll say fan post. That's gonna be like, oh, that method's not allowed. We'll only allow posts and options as methods, right? So that's where we then do. So that's how we can smuggle in an HTTP 1.1 request. So we can just come right here. I'm just gonna copy this entire request and change this to this. So we're just gonna request the first page, and then we're gonna do data equals. And so what's gonna happen here is, so this post request sends whatever's in the data body into this chat right here, right? So it sends black into this chat. Okay. So when the next person sends a request, it's going to take their entire post request and append it to data and send it in using my session cookie. And so it'll be as if I typed in the chat, but it'll send their entire post request. So we'll get their cookie, we'll get everything where they're at, cookie, all that shit, right? All their flags, whatever's in there, which is going to be a flag. And that's how we're going to steal the enemy cookie, okay? Or the bot's cookie. So, but we also need to change this from HTTP 1.2 to 1.1 because you can't smuggle in a 2. You got to smuggle in a 1. And also content length. You can try whatever you want. I had to look this up because I didn't know, like, I didn't know why my shit wasn't working. So I had to, like, look at a fucking guide. And I realized that because your content length has to be able to handle the amount of information that you're receiving or else it won't work. So it has to be able to take in this entire thing and handle it. So they said the best like number to use is 730 for receiving an entire post request. So that's what we're gonna use, 730, and then yours should look exactly like this. And then we can just send this. I'm pretty sure we should be good here. So if we send this, so message received and stored successfully. Now, if we come to get messages, let's turn our proxy off. So the idiot should show up there in a minute. If it doesn't, then we're gonna have to resend it in. But he should show up there. We can try doing it ourselves to see if. But yeah, it should be when they send a post request to. Oh wait. Oh, I fucked up. My bad. I messed that up bad. So we want to stop it on nothing to see here. If we refresh this, it should have our entire post request in there. And it does. So we can just go to our cookie. And that's our entire session cookie right there. You should just give this a minute here and it'll pawn it. But yeah, so what I accidentally changed this to not send message. So it wasn't actually sending the message in, it was just giving us the return. And we had to change this to post slash because we want it to, when it sends a request to slash, we want it to act when they try to send a request to slash, or I think this is when they send any request at all. Yeah, it'll be any request because this backside server will be desync. So any request they send, it'll just put it in the data. It'll just put their entire request within the data field. So I don't think it really matters. see how long this thing takes. I don't know. For me, it just happened instantly last time, so I really don't know how long it takes. Oh, I think it's Touchy Hammer right there. Is not it? Post login headless. Wait, no, is this me? Oh, I think that is me. Oh no, that should be them, right? That's a to the post slash login HTTP 1.1, but it doesn't have a. Here, let me send this again. Oh yeah, they already took it. Okay, yeah, here it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, flag's right there. So there's our flag right there. So yeah, they already took it and they'll use it to log in. So yeah. Anyways, so when using this flag has reversed fucking retards. If you look at the flag, it has reversed exclamation points. So you just need to replace the reverse exclamation points, which is all this random bullshit, with reverse exclamation points, like reverse exclamation point or exclamation mark, and then yeah. So you just take this and then come in here right there like that. And then yeah, that's your flag. So pretty easy. Or not, I don't know necessarily say it's easy, but I guess it is pretty easy now looking back on it. But when I was doing it, it was fucking, I was like, what the fuck? Because I was just brain dead, didn't know what was going on. Anyway, so yeah, pretty fun CTF. If you liked the video, let me know if you want more. Thanks for watching.